let's talk a little bit about Yeezy, more fucking drama. So I remember mentioning that before the Yeezy store closed, I was really gutted because I couldn't get a pair of these like hiking, I guess mountain boots, construction boots, whatever they're called. They kind of remind me of 424 boots. Essentially, it's like a, it's like a lace-up boot, really kind of heavy duty, but it doesn't have any laces on it. It's completely laceless, but it's kind of made in the style of a regular boot, a regular kind of army boot. And it looked really cool. The design of it looked really cool, personally, for me. Especially since I've been, I'm a fan of the Yeezy aesthetic anyway when it comes to footwear. And since, Ye kind of fell out unceremoniously with fucking Adidas, we haven't had the ability or the option to be able to buy any more of his fucking trainers or his shoes. So when these shoes came about, I was really, 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 really excited to get a pair. Unfortunately, I didn't jump on them early enough and they disappeared once the Yeezy store went down because was on these little Hitler thing and Shopify decided to cancel his shop. No, I think that's what happened. I think he put the swastika t-shirt up on his Yeezy's online store and Shopify closed the store and he hasn't been able to open another one since. So I wasn't able to get a pair of those boots. Well, it seems like I might have dodged a bullet. It seems like I might have dodged a bullet because according to Stay Grounded, there's huge delays over this boot that I wanted, which is called the Yeezy SL-03. And some people are saying it doesn't actually even exist. So some people are now saying that it might have been a scam. It might have been a ruse to just run up the P's on a shoe that doesn't exist. Now, I don't think it was a scam in terms of like Ye doing it to scam people out of their money. I think what Ye probably done was what a lot of brands do nowadays, or clothing companies, where they'll might make a sample or they might make a small run of a particular item and they'll sell it on like a pre-order system. They won't tell you though. That's what I don't like. They don't tell you that. So they'll put something up for sale. Oh, here's this amazing hat. Here's this great jacket that I've designed. You go and buy it, but then what you're buying is the pre-order. Then once they get all the money for those pre-orders of that jacket, the hat, the shoes, they'll then put it into manufacturing or get them produced or whatever. And then you have to wait. You have to wait for them to basically be manufactured or produced for you to then get a pair. But they're not actually ready to go right now. So that's what I think probably happened. And I'd imagine when the store got closed down, it probably fucked up a lot of the, process of what was going on. So all those things kind of combined. Because I don't, I wouldn't necessarily think Ye would, especially at this point, be scamming people out of shoes. But it's a real shame because I think it's one of the most interesting shapes that he's put out in a while. And I was really looking forward to getting the pair. But unfortunately, it doesn't look like they're going to be available. So as you can see here, that was the Yeezy SL-03. People are selling it on StockX, but I don't know how because it doesn't even exist. But the great thing about this, on the store, Ye was selling it for like $30. No, $20, sorry. Because everything on the Yeezy store was $20 each. But now people are reselling that particular boot for $300, which doesn't exist, by the way. But I do like the shape and the silhouette of it, but I'm just looking at it now. This completely vulcanized, rubberized boot. I wonder if you could you even realistically produce something like this for $20 anyway? Would that be even possible? Because it looks really fucking good. Maybe because I'm a bit of a stickler for boots and shit. I love a good black boot, but the shape of it, the height of it looks pretty robust. I don't know if it is completely waterproof because there's no like exposed seams there. Everything looks like it's been taped. It just looked really fucking good, really versatile. But unfortunately, there's going to be huge delays on them. The next slide here says, this is courtesy of the Yeezy subreddit. Somebody posted on there and said they ordered an SL-03, which is the boot I mentioned, on Feb 10th, but they got the slip-on shoe instead. So a lot of people that ordered the boot that I wanted are now getting the slip-on trainer instead and not the boot. This trainer is still quite nice. I think that's the SL-01, but it's not the boot that you wanted. Somebody else posted and said, this is everyone's experience. No one has gotten the boots and the rumor is they were never even produced to begin with. Another person said, order the SL-03. Look what came in. Yeah, we got scammed. Okay, cool. That is a bit of a scam. If you order the boots and the first thing you get is the slippers or the slipper trainer things, you're going to be a little bit pissed off. But I've heard people say they're really comfortable though, these are slipper trainer things. The SL-03 doesn't exist, somebody else says. Another one person say they got the SL-03, got delivered, but it's the SL-01. Ye and his team are a bunch of scammers. Y'all think we're going to get the SL-03 or GTA 6 first? I cancelled all my SL-0123 before I got scammed. I'm with everyone else on this. I don't think he ever produced the SL-03. The worst thing is that no one who interviews Ye dares to ask him about the delays, these poorly delivered items. Gotcha. So, and that's the only image that we have of the boots when Ye was on the red carpet for, I think, the Grammys, when Bianca Censori had that naked outfit. So, personally, although it feels like it's a scam, I would veer on the side of I don't think it's a scam. I don't think Ye is scamming his fans. I just think it was a case of the timing was bad, because when he launched the shoes or the boots straight after the whole, like, you know, swastika debacle happened, and then the Yeezy store had to close. So I'm assuming that probably added to the delays. But I'm sure somewhere down the line, the boots will get made. I have a feeling they will get made. I have a feeling. Maybe I'm just remaining hopeful because I'm a bit of a Yeezy stan and I'm just a Yeezy apologist. But I have a feeling they will be produced. But they just haven't been produced just yet because of all the drama that's been happening with the Shopify. And clearly, Ye is also very distracted, isn't it? When's the last time we've seen Ye design anything, you know? He's been hanging around with Sneaker and making fucking How Hitler songs and shit. He hasn't really been focused on making any clothes. I don't think I've seen him in a design studio. The last time I saw him making clothes or like looking like he was making clothes when he was hanging out with Jim Jones. And look at how that ended. So he's been a bit distracted. So maybe that might be the reason why. Maybe if this goes viral, he might see this stuff and react to it, respond to it. Let's hope and pray. Let's hope and pray, because I would really like the shoe. If possible, I would really like the shoe. In other Yeezy news, courtesy of academics, Ye's actually sent Kim Kardashian a cease and desist regarding Northwest and just in general regarding the situation of him not being able to see his kids, which is really crazy. So Academics TV decided to post one of these letters here that was sent courtesy of Ye to Kim Kardashian, which I'm going to read for you here, because this is more drama involving Ye and his kids that, you know, really has nothing to do with us in the public, but hey, it's news, so let's talk about it regardless. So this is courtesy of Ye's team. It says JB Law Firm, and if I zoom in here, it says, we represent Kanye West and Mrs. Bianca Censori in family law matters concerning welfare and custody of Mr. West's minor children, Northwest, St. West, Chicago West, and Psalm West. The letter constitutes a formal demand to cease and desist from the actions that violate Mr. West's parental rights, exploit his children, and breach the joint custody agreement established in the client's divorce settlement. Number one, unauthorized exposure of Northwest. On or about in May 5th, our client brought Northwest to the Met Gala in New York City. Your client, sorry, brought Northwest to the Met Gala in New York City, exposing us to significant media attention. Reports indicate that Northwest was left unattended in the vehicle during the portions of the event, posing risks for her safety. Additionally, your clients has published or authorized publication of Northwest images and videos on social media platforms, including TikTok, despite Mr. West's explicit objections to his children's presence on such platforms. Denial of custodial access. Despite the joint legal and physical custody arrangement, Mr. West has been denied meaningful access to his children. Notably, he has not had any contact with his son, St. West, in 2025. Damn, and it's May already. So he hasn't seen St. West in 5 months, okay? His interactions with North, Chicago, and Psalm have been unreasonably restricted. This violates the custody agreement's provisions for equal parental access and decision making. That sounds a bit dodgy, though, to be fair. So he hasn't seen St. West in 2025, but Ye has seen the other kids, North, Chicago, and Psalm. That makes me feel like St. West doesn't want to see his dad, you know? If he's the one kid that hasn't seen his dad, that makes it seem like he's the one not wanting to see his dad, because the rest of them have, in some capacity, even if it was supervised. Number 3, exploitation without consent. Your client use of Northwest's public events and online content appears to exploit her likeness for personal and commercial gain without Miss West's approval, I'm assuming that's going to say. Next slide. This disregards our joint custodial rights and his stand stated opposition to the children's public exposure. Financial custodial context. Mr. West fulfills his child support obligations, paying $200,000 per month for child support. Your client is directed to comply with the following demands by May 23rd. Cease publishing or authorizing the publication of any images or videos of the kids. refrain from involving Northwest in any of Mr. West's children in public events, such as the Met Gala. 3, facilitate the unimpeded access of Mr. West to his children, including immediate in-person visitation. And 4, remove all existing social media content featuring Mr. West's children that was posted without his consent. This is messy, man. Again, none of my business, because this is like family, family matter shit. But as much as I would love to believe a lot of this, and I'm sure there is some truth to what Ye's saying, I just think in these sort of situations, especially when you're the guy and you're dealing with a mum, you're never going to win when you start to take it this way in public, you know? You're probably better off just trying to deal with it privately behind the scenes, especially if you're paying child support and you're doing what you need to do to kind of, abide by the rules or whatever it may be. You should probably just make sure you get this stuff done in writing and through the courts without, putting it out there in the public and engaging in a kind of back and forth on social. Which kind of is done, He's kind of weaponized social media to kind of use it to his advantage. But to be fair to Ye, he can maybe say that he is left in no other position to do that because he's tried to go about it the right way, and they haven't really been receptive to him and his demands, which is understandable too, considering the things he's been saying online has been going on. But like I've said, considering the things that Ye's been doing and saying online recently, I wonder if he actually did try and press it really hard, if he would probably lose all of his, parental rights and shit to the kids if he really tried to push for some level of custody through the courts. Because if they really went to analyze and try and ascertain what his mental state was, would they think he was fit and proper to look after his kids anyway? I'm not too sure, So it's a bit of a delicate situation. If he tries to deal with Kim and the family, Kardashians directly, they might hold him by the balls because they know he's doing it because if he tries to go to the courts, he's not going to win. So they might kind of, take the piss out of him. But then if he tries to go through the court of public opinion, there's also the harm that he might make the situation far worse because all they need to do is just, document all of the crash outs, document all the things he said negatively about, Kim's mom, about the family in general. And it's not going to help his case when it comes to having more time to hang out with his kids. But it's a weird situation. It's a strange one all around. It's not really good call to see, especially when there's like 4 kids involved. They kind of getting pulled from one position to the other position, all in public. It's a little bit messy. It's a little bit messy, but we hope and pray that they figure it out in some regard. We really do hope and pray they can figure it out in some freaking regard.